Hi everyone, the Artie Dans here from the Asian Film Fans and the Artie Dans YouTube channels, and in this video we're going to take a look at a Korean movie called Ghostmansion, also known as Grotesque Mansion. This is a horror movie from 2021, and it is a horror movie from one of my most hated horror genres, the Anthology. So let's check out this movie and see what I thought of it. A young webtoon author interviews a man who is the caretaker of a seemingly abandoned apartment block once owned by a religious cult. There is a rumor that the block is haunted, and he wants to know about any spooky incidents that have occurred. He tells them of 4 tales and a mysterious 5th tale that he needs to experience for himself. These tales include an author who experiences issues with the children living in the level below, a pharmacist whose lover is acting erratically, a real estate agent whose sex doll comes to life, and a young man who visits his old high school friend who lives in a very moldy apartment. He uses these stories to write a new webtoon. However, his thirst for more stories leads him to the 5th tale, where the truth of the apartment block is revealed to him. As I said in the introduction, anthologies are my most hated horror movie genre of all of them. And in fact, I've only ever enjoyed 2 Asian horror movie anthologies. They are Kwaidan, the Japanese one, and the Three Extremes one, the one that combines the Japanese, South Korean, and Hong Kong directors together. So this is not a horror genre that is enjoyable to me. And the reason is because I actually like getting involved in a story and following it from the start to the end. I don't like having these really short little burst stories that stop and start. And then, once you get into a story, it stops and you're moving on to something different. But Ghostmansion does something slightly different, which is something that I really appreciated here. It links all of the characters together. So this is one of the better anthology movies I have seen, I have to admit it. And I've seen a lot of really rubbish ones lately, but this one is definitely one of the better ones. And it's very typically Korean. There's a lot of very good-looking people in the cast. It's very slick, it's very professional, and everything looks great. However, it's not full-on horror. It is creepy, but it never really gets to the heights that it needs to get probably until it gets to the 5th tale. But the first 3 tales, just as they start to get started, just as they start to get creepy, they kind of stop. And I think out of all the 3 tales, the one with the pharmacist and her lover is the one that gets the furthest before it stops. But then we get to the 4th tale. And I have to admit, I'm not the kind of person who actually does find horror movies gross or disgusting or confronting anymore. Occasionally, I might look away when there's a horror movie on, like if there's excessive blood, because I'm not a big fan of excessive blood. But the 4th tale in this movie actually had my stomach churning, and that's because of the mold that grows in this whole apartment. And for someone like me, who needs to find something unique about a horror movie to find an enjoyable element, this was it. It was this 4th tale with the mold that had my stomach really kind of churning, that made me really get into this film. Because I got a reaction, and it was the reaction that I wanted. Something grotesque, kind of lived up to the original name of the film. And I did like that. And if you're watching it, just be forewarned. If excessive mold and that kind of thing just kind of creeps you out, that's what that whole tale is about. Now, the movie is held together by a bit of story elements that happen outside of the apartment block, and that follows the writer with this girl that he lives with, or girl that he works with, who seems to have a crush on him. And of course, there's a scene of him talking to his manager, or the person that he sells the stories to, that kind of pushes the movie along to explore stories 4 and 5. And then story 5 really hits the nail on the head in this movie, where you actually get to understand exactly what's going on in the apartment block and kind of the curse that's there. And I really did like the 5th story, but 4th one is definitely the highlight for me. Then it comes down to the fact that while I hate anthologies, I actually did really enjoy this. And another thing is I haven't really enjoyed a lot of Korean horror movies lately. I found that they are far too slick and far too glitzy looking to actually be something that I would consider scary. And countries like Indonesia have really been kicking it out of the park lately with some of their horror movies, especially their 2022 output. That was almost all terrific. So it's good to see this Korean movie, even though it is from 2021, be something interesting. So using the GHOST rating, which stands for Great Horror or Stupid Trash, I'm going to award this movie 3 ghosts out of 5, which I feel is quite high for an anthology movie. Now, I was tossing and turning between a 4 and a 5, a 4 and a 3, because I really did enjoy it. And the only reason it misses that extra point to take it to 4-star ghosts is because the stories don't go far enough. And if we had an extra 10 minutes per story, it unfortunately would have blown the movie runtime out to over 2 hours, which no one really wants. But an extra 10 minutes per story, we could have got something really special out of this film. Or alternatively, perhaps ditch the first story about the author and focus more on the pharmacist, the student, and the real estate agent. Anyway, that's Ghost Mansion, also known as Grotesque Mansion. If you've seen this movie, what did you think of it? And in fact, what is your opinion on anthology movies in total? Do you like them or do you hate them as much as I do? Leave a comment below, press like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new here and you want to know more about Asian movies, including horror movies, and otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video.